Welcome to The Teacher's Story. I'm Jackie Scully. This is a podcast to elevate teacher voice. In this program, you will hear teachers sharing their journey into this profession and their ideas for education. I'm kicking it off Teacher Appreciation Week, which starts May 2nd. This is about honest, vulnerable, inspiring storytelling. It's a time and a space for teachers to share their ideas for the future of education. Teachers are beautiful beings who give their heart and soul to their community. They're innovators, they're inspirational, not only to children, but to the people around them. And they deserve to share their voice. So welcome to The Teacher's Story. Enjoy. Hi, welcome to The Teacher's Story. This is Jackie Scully, and today we have a very special episode. This is my part 2 of the diary entry series. It's also my last episode of season 1. So I'm taking a break for the holidays, and I will start season 2 January 1st, 2023. So on this episode, I'm going to share with you my experience in the fall, teaching in the fall, and give shout out to my guests in season 1. So I hope you enjoy. It will be a lot of listing of names and giving mentions towards the end. So bear with me, but during this Thanksgiving season, it's Thanksgiving here in the United States, I really want to give my gratitude to the guests of season 1. So I hope you enjoy. So the fall, the last time I had an episode was early October. By middle of October, I found out that the Germany trip that I'm planning is going to happen because I had 18 students, seniors that signed up. And with that, I got to also apply for a program leader training in Rome, and I didn't know if I was going to make it since it closed, and I didn't know how many people would have been signing up for that. So I did find out towards the end of October that I got on the training. So I'll be going to Rome in January for the training through Explorica for this trip. And then the trip to Germany, which is a historical trip with my students, will be in March. So I'm very excited about that. As well as we started our leadership group cohort that will be going to Germany and Switzerland next July. We started meeting with them in November, and we'll be meeting with them once a month for the remaining of the year. And that is all for a leadership sustainability conference in Berlin next July. So that's another great opportunity. We had Spirit Week in October, where each of the grades in the upper school compete, and they play different competitions, different games. They have talent. They do like a singing and dancing show, and they do also, they decorate their hallway, which is a lot of fun. And the juniors and seniors are usually the biggest rivals. And the juniors won this year, which was kind of a surprise to the seniors. So they were a little bit disappointed, but all in all, it's good fun. The end of the quarter rolled around, and we actually had a faculty and service that focused on spirituality, and we got to have different spiritual workshops that we signed up for. So I signed up for art and music, all around kind of diving into your spirituality in different art forms. And then we ended with a meeting for worship in the meeting house in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, which was really nice. When the quarter ended, it was very busy. We have lots of grading. We have to write comments for each student, which takes quite a bit of time. We did get some time in the morning with our school schedule where we usually have meetings, and we took off for 2 weeks to do that. But we ended the quarter and then doing the grading comments with our field trip to DC for the junior class, which we haven't done since 2019. It was great. It was a lot of fun. The students got a lot out of it, but it's a 12-hour day. It rained for some of the day. We were walking in the rain. Just being on a bus for almost 7 hours is very long. So a lot of the juniors got sick, and the following week, we had many juniors and seniors out as well. The flu was going around really bad in November. And then I did get sick right before Thanksgiving break. So luckily I felt better for Thanksgiving, but I had a pretty bad respiratory illness, and luckily not the flu. But yes, it's been going around, and they were saying it's going to be a bad flu season, and respiratory as well, and other illnesses, even with COVID and new variants. So doing our best to stay healthy, but the beginning of November to mid-November was quite exhausting. Also celebrated my 5th wedding anniversary with my husband on November 11th, which was the same day we went to DC. So overall, so many things happening. Fall is so busy. It's probably one of the busiest times of the school year, that and the end of the school year. So I am ready for some respite. And so with that, taking a break from this podcast, I want to thank the guests from season one because it's truly been a journey, and I did not know I would be doing this even into this now month 7. When I started in May, I thought I would be doing this till end of the school year in mid-June. So I want to start my first 4 guests. I just reached out to them at like middle of March last year or this year and said, "Hey, can I interview you? I'm thinking about doing a podcast. I just want to share teacher stories." And they were so wonderful and just like trusted me to interview them and share their story. And I just want to thank first my 4 guests that were good friends of mine: Kelly Ponte, May Kane Smith, who I worked with at my last school, Ursuline Academy. I'm still good friends with today, especially Kelly Ponte. We still spend time together. And then Susan Marciel in Hawaii. I taught with her when I was teaching in Hawaii in my 20s. She just retired this year. And Carl Homna, who's an AP psychology teacher, and I'm part of the AP psychology group online. And he is from Hawaii, but he also now teaches in Delaware. So thank you to my 4 first guests. It was so important for me, and you're very special to me for starting this. And then as I started to network more on LinkedIn and meet more teachers, either teachers that are still in the profession or maybe transition out and doing other work, I started to see that this was going to continue. So my next guest was Sally Palmer, and she is a nature educator. And she is now a really good friend of mine and a co founder of the Teacher Circle LinkedIn group. So thank you, Sally. I really have enjoyed getting close with you and look forward to hopefully meeting you in the next year. After Sally, I had Joel Felsenstein, who's also a really good friend now. He helps me with the podcast video editing for the YouTube channel. He's out of the UK. He has his company Rockstar X, where he's a music educator and wants to bridge the gap of neurodiversity and neurotypical people with music and music education. And he hopes to expand Rockstar X into the United States. So thank you, Joel. Next, Dr. Angela Young, who is a former teacher. She transitioned out of the classroom at the beginning of this year and then landed a new career starting in July called Sight Improve, and she does accessibility work, and she's got a wonderful mission of promoting accessibility and DEI work on LinkedIn and through her company, and she's just a great support for that community. Jess Goslin, I met her also through LinkedIn, and she's an international teacher. She was teaching in Taiwan when I interviewed her, and now is in Poland in a higher role. And I am so excited to see her on her journey. Emily Long, who is a wonderful, brilliant, reflective mind on LinkedIn, always sharing wonderful, reflective posts. She moved out of higher ed and is now in learning and development. And so I really love connecting with her as well and learning more about her journey. Patsy Coy, who is a good friend still to this day, and she is a humanitarian educator in Malaysia and teaches refugee children. She also she came back on later in this season with her mentor, Gloria Twang, and she is a concert pianist and also a music educator. And it was nice to share their connection. I'll talk a little bit more about Gloria towards the end. Rachel Siccioni, who I actually met through Facebook, and she's a teacher out of Pennsylvania, now transitioned out of traditional education and has her own business. She's a private educator, private teacher, does French education, and then also helps other teachers start their own businesses. So I was just talking to her recently over Thanksgiving break and love to brainstorm ideas about how we would like to do more work with young teachers and mentor them. Lori Sostrom, who's out of Ireland, originally from America, who's an anxiety management coach, used to be a teacher for VIP kids, also a parent. And when I had her on the show, she talked a lot about the whole parent-teacher connection and how important that was. And we just really had a nice connection through that episode and continuing on from there. Jackie Turnwald, they are now a DEI consultant, but was a teacher in the classroom and an English teacher and doing lots of wonderful work, very prominent voice on LinkedIn, sharing about DEI work and also the importance of learning about different, diversity communities and bringing that into schools and the workplace. So thank you, Jackie. Hope Lecker is the other co-founder of the Teacher Circle LinkedIn group. And we had a roundtable series after interviewing her about her journey with Sally Palmer. We brought her back on and talked about the teacher circle. And I really enjoyed collaborating with Hope. And I'm excited for both Hope and Sally and I to continue the work in the Teacher Circle LinkedIn group. And we will be sharing a special Zoom social, holiday social that we're wanting to do over December. So we will be sending out a poll in that group in coming days. Hannah Phillips, who's a young teacher in Dubai. She's out of the UK, but teaches in primary education in Dubai and has a wonderful passion for play and exploratory learning. And she's just a nice, bright, young teacher who has these wonderful ideas. And I wish her all the best in her work in Dubai. Ryan Judd, who is a recording artist, music therapist, and kid meditation teacher. And it was wonderful to hear also about his work with his new app called the Cool Koala, which helps children at bedtime with meditation and, hopefully dealing with anxiety and calming down. And that was just a nice kind of new type of story to have on the show. Dr. Jay Rodriguez, who is a communications professor out of California, also is a public speaker. He's been on a TED Talk where his TED Talk called The Power of Solidarity is amazing. Look him up. He is very much a motivational speaker, a brilliant speaker, and is motivating many on the LinkedIn community. Next, I had Lauren Lum, who is a teacher who's transitioned out of the traditional classroom K through 12 and into online teaching without school. And she shares an emotional story on her episode in season 1, moving from Brooklyn, New York to Maine, and how that experience was very different, but it allowed her to then gain her voice again and look for something new in teaching. Dr. Subra Mukherjee, she is a professor out of India. She's also a mind mapping expert, and she talks a lot about that on LinkedIn. She's also an author and has been on a TED Talk. So she is brilliant. She thinks about thinking in a different way and learning in a different way. And I've already learned so much from her and continue to want to connect with Dr. Subra. Casey Tench, she actually reached out to me in an email sharing about how she transitioned out of the classroom and now has her holistic life coaching business called Rooting for You. She's a special person to me as well, because now I am working with her coaching services and looking at how to have work-life balance and work on health and other goals that I have. And I've really enjoyed getting to know Casey, and she's been so important to this time right now while I was sick and trying to find more balance in my life and taking time out for me. So thank you, Casey. Judith Musa is a teacher out of Kenya who's now a student at the UN University in Germany. And she plans on creating her mentorship program and writing a book about mentorship. She is a great young role model for women and all young people, but particularly young women. And I'm hopefully will be meeting up with her at some point when I am in Europe next year. And I can't wait to meet you, Judith. Vinny Waggiani is a detective. He is also a chair, school governor, and student coach out of the UK. And he works with children, coaching them with resilience and leadership and becoming, someone who can advocate for themselves while they're young. So starting even in middle school through high school. And he's done this with his own children as well, and then seeing them become more independent. And I actually met him through a group on Facebook where we connected with an author, Simon Alexander Ung, who's the author of Energize, on this book group. And then we met and decided to collaborate and have him on the show. Marie Sumnett is a reading specialist. She's also an entrepreneur. She has a mentorship program that she learned from her son about, and she does that. And I'll actually be meeting with her again over the holiday break or sometime in the new year about that mentorship program, because it's something I am looking into as well. John Shambari is an educational consultant out of New York and the northern New Jersey area. Also is a director of curriculum in Saudi Arabia and talks a lot about international teaching. Kenny Peavey is a nature educator at the Green School in Bali and also has a group called the Vox People on Facebook and shares lots of resources about nature education. I actually met him through Sally, who's in nature education. And one goal that we both have is to go to Bali one day, maybe in 2024, to visit Kenny and also the Green School. Audrey Forgeron and David Carpenter are two international teachers who reached out to me about their podcast, and we collaborated where they came on my show, and they're starting their podcast that's launching in December called Educators Going Global, and we share lots about our experience with international teachers and promoting international education. And then I end it with Gloria Chuang, who is Patsy's mentor, Patsy Coy's mentor. And this was the first time I had on someone who was a teacher to another person and sharing their connection and story. And that will be a big theme in season 2, where I will have a former student on, maybe more than one. And Patsy will come back on with 2 former students that were refugee students in Malaysia and now are teachers in Texas in America. So full circle. Thank you so much to all my guests. You are all amazing, beautiful people doing great work in the world, whether you're still in education or you moved on and you're doing something else to give back to community and continue educating people. So I am very fortunate to have had all of these guests on season 1, and I look forward to sharing more in season 2 and having this kind of next level of the ripple effect, bringing former students on and other people in education. So thank you all, and happy holidays. I am wishing you many blessings during this time, and I'm ready for the new year. So I will see you on January 1st, 2023 to celebrate the new year and kick off season 2 of The Teacher's Story. Have a great day. Bye.